Story 1. I hate mornings. I don't like waking up. I don't like breakfast as a genre or activity. I don't see a good reason to be anywhere before 10 a.m. I started forcing myself to wake up early and go to the gym before work. I hate it, but it makes me feel so goddamn good all day. It's a miserable but healthy dose of morning endorphins that stops me from getting sleepy after lunch, keeps me energized after work, and helps me get a better night's sleep. It sucks, and it hurts even more that it improves every aspect of my day, because if I stop I know I'll just start having bad days again, and it'll be my own lazy, dumb fault despite being an easy fix. Story 2. He wants to settle for anything out of fear that nothing better will come later. He is okay with a dead-end job, abusive relationships, and no master's degree. I tell him it has never gotten me anywhere. It is the definition of stuck, and I have no intention of being stuck anymore. Story 3. I used to eat cheap pizza, smoke heavily, and play video games. I changed many of those habits to healthier ones. Story 4. I used to have a small sign on my desk that read, "The worst possible feeling is when the person you are meets the person you could have been." It reminded me to pursue my goals instead of procrastinating with video games and social media. I think it's time I dug that sign out again. Story 5. I avoid the man who wants to streak during the Super Bowl halftime show because prison is not a pleasant place to be. Story 6. That guy's cousin lives in my head. I attend Alcoholics Anonymous meetings to avoid and outweed him. Story 7. We agreed to take turns occupying the same body. I am in control from 5:30 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon on weekdays, and he has evenings, weekends, and holidays. Story 8. All that guy wants to do is browse Reddit and play video games. I do not avoid him. Story 9. He just wants to win the lottery and sit on his couch watching dark comedies, drinking until it kills him. I avoid this by remembering my mother would be very sad if it happened, and I want to be truly in love at least one more time before I die. Story 10. I have the same guy in my head. I quit smoking pot years ago before I turned 30. I can still stay in bed all day sometimes. What keeps me from having a 24-hour lie-in on my laptop too often are commitments I've made to myself, friends, and employers. Back in the day, pot made it easy to give up on those commitments. I miss pot, but I don't miss that period, which keeps me from going back. Story 11. I have had chronic severe depression for 25 years. It is not completely clear what I have, but it comes and goes. It is not seasonal affective disorder, not bipolar disorder, and not major depressive disorder. We simply do not know, and medication has not worked. However, it has never really gone. It has more like periods of being manageable or unmanageable. The voice either tells me I should lie down and just give up, or that soon I will be lying down and giving up again. My manageable moments are filled with as much joy as I can pack into them, and every night before going to bed I tell the voice to suck it. Today was my day, not yours. When it is unmanageable and the voice tells me to give up, I try to fight as long as I can, and when I start to agree with it I always manage to end it with, "But not today." It has kept me alive this long. I hope I can keep going like this for a while. Story 12. That feeling is my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I probably have an extreme case. My medication, even at high doses, hardly works anymore. The best way I manage the urge to play games or goof off is to remove myself from places of temptation before the thought arises. I find empty classrooms at college to study or work. I purposely drive away from home, which is full of games, food, and comfort, to a classroom so I do not get the urge. Even if the urge comes, I have created a barrier because driving back would require too much effort and guilt to be worth it. Story 13. Might get buried, but the person in my head is literally Mr. Spock from Star Trek, and I don't avoid him. Hear me out. I discovered through therapy that I needed a mechanism for judgment-free, objective self-analysis, and Mr. Spock is that person. He can see the most extreme space scenarios and react calmly and objectively. Mr. Spock. The massive space blob has a 97.454% chance of consuming the ship and everyone inside within 4 to 7 minutes. Projections show it will be slow and painful. Kirk. That's horrible. Spock. Yes. It is not ideal for our continued survival, but its actions are entirely within the nature of the space blob. So whenever I get spun up on something in my head, I imagine a mini Spock with a science terminal that can pull all data about me. Me. Spock, science report. Spock. Data shows that Godspeed Metal is 5.8 days into quitting tobacco and is under great mental distress from the change in chemical intake. He is not consciously aware of it, but he is attempting to make up an excuse to get gas on a half tank in order to create an opportunity to buy a pack of cigarettes. Me. Thank you, Spock. Sounds like I'm being dishonest with myself. I suck. Spock. I disagree. It is entirely within the nature of a nicotine addict to seek out a source of nicotine intake. This is neither good nor bad, just natural. Data also suggests that conscious awareness mitigates the chances of nicotine intake by 89.45%. You have not yet procured a nicotine source. Commendable. Just going through that mental exercise helps knock me out of a spun-up state and helps sort out emotions and feelings into a parsed, objective, and, most importantly, non-judgmental way. Edit. Holy shit. I'm happy this was received so well. This mechanism has helped me a lot. I offer a couple of words of advice if you intend to use this method, because it can be frustrating if you do not set your expectations correctly. 1. Spock's reports will be amended, appended, referenced, and reworked entirely. This is all part of the process. Even Spock needed extended analysis several times to understand something in order to create a way to cope or overcome. Do not treat everything he says as immutable truth. His analysis is only as good as the data he receives through that mental science terminal. Your initial reports will upgrade that terminal for stronger analysis in the future. 2. You will fail, and that's totally okay. He has analyzed far more for me than just smoking. Everything from anxiety, work struggles, and interpersonal relationships has been reviewed through that science terminal. Using the smoking example, recognizing that getting gas was just an excuse to get cigarettes did not come from a single analysis but was referenced from a prior science report. At one point I had quit smoking, went to get gas a few days later, and drove away with a pack of cigarettes in my pocket. Spock reported, Godspeed Metal formulated a reason to create an environment that allowed his weakened will to procure a source of nicotine. Further, analysis shows that nicotine addiction is extremely subversive to Godspeed Metal's psyche at a subconscious level. The strength of control the addiction exerts upon his mind is quite strong. Fascinating. Spock does not judge me. It is what it is. And I respond, that is fascinating. My mind is stranger than I ever thought possible. However, I am more in control because I now recognize this pattern of behavior. I believe that this can be identified at a later point if I do this again. Thank you, Spock. That failure to stop smoking at that time was an opportunity to learn about myself. For your information, I'm several months smoke-free and still going. 3. This is not meant to make someone an emotionless logic machine. Spock understands that human nature is an emotional experience. Humans get horny, sad, happy, angry, depressed, excited. All of that comprises the human condition. It is part of the logic of being human. Take that into account, yet strive to be aware of your humanity and make conscious decisions instead of subconsciously reacting emotionally. 4. Trust your intuition. Your instincts have been developed over millions of years of evolution. Your mind is powerful and can subconsciously recognize threats and benefits to your world and yourself. Even if you do not understand why your gut is reacting the way it is, do not dismiss it. Run it by Spock, and if you do not arrive at a satisfactory answer, revisit it later when you have more experience, time, and data. Story 14. The guy in my head wants to lie in my pillow top bed with soft sheets, my Buffy blanket, memory foam pillows, and sleep 18 hours a day and hide from everyone, punctuated by gorging myself on good takeout food, getting raving drunk, watching endless history documentaries, and planning trips for next year. If that were all I did, I would probably start smoking marijuana again. Story 15. I relate to this. The girl in my head is constantly trying to avoid tasks like going to work, going to school, or socializing. She prefers sitting at home in my chair, smoking a joint, and watching coming-of-age dramas or comedies. I have to force myself every day to do all the things that being an adult requires. It is hard. I think almost everyone feels this way. Story 16. I let her out and feed her once in a while, That way she lets me get on with my life. Don't you ever tame your demons, but always keep them on a leash. Arsonist's Lullaby Hosier. Story 17. The guy in my head is not letting me lie in bed all day smoking marijuana and watching cartoons. Story 18. That guy wants to die. I am unsure how to avoid him. Copious amounts of caffeine seem to help. Story 19. That person is constantly grumpy, never wants to get out of their pajamas, and enjoys being drunk and high. To avoid that person, I make a conscious effort to stay productive, motivate myself, and never drink alone. Story 20. I figured I might as well share about my guy. My guy hates me and the small life I've built for myself. The guy in me just wants to lie in bed every day until I grow old and die. Don't get me started on the other thing he wants to do to me. It's pretty similar to Anthony Bourdain's other cravings. To fight back, I listen to music that fits my emotions. I keep my hands busy, and luckily I enjoy cooking. Deck building for Magic: The Gathering also helps. I try to be creative and draw more, exercise, and go out to tell jokes at open mics. I do the things my guy does not want me to do because I want to be better than the person he wants me to be. He has a grip on me most days, but I try my hardest to get out of it. Story 21. Holy shit. Anthony said that? Damn. I miss him even more. Story 22. He's the voice that tells me to stop what I'm doing and end it all. To avoid him, I just ignore what he says. At the moment, he's wrong. Story 23. I have to say that I am touched by the original poster's attentiveness to responses that show distress. That is wholesome. Story 24. Why try to outwit or avoid that guy? My goal in life is to find a way to sustain the lifestyle he suggests. The only reason I do any of those other ambitious things is so I can do all the nothing I want. Bill Watterson was not saying exactly what Bourdain's head guy said, but he offered a good middle ground philosophy between being a complete slacker and adopting a Steve Jobs-style chief executive officer mentality. Story 25. I tried doing push-ups. It gave me all the motivation I needed to get off my butt because I was so pathetic. Story 26. I want to do something drastic to qualify for Social Security disability and then lounge around all day jobless, drinking beer, watching whatever, and roaming around Grand Theft Auto 5 while living on government benefits. Story 27. My guy wants to smoke weed and play guitar all day. It happens to be my job, and I am trying to turn it into a career writing original songs with a new band. I got tired of fighting him, so I embraced him. Story 28. I'm a microbiology major and a pre-medical student, but sometimes I just want to stay at home and be a cute housewife. I want to have 3 children and be a parent-teacher association mom. I love the idea, but I know I could not be truly happy with that. Story 29. The man does not believe I will ever be happy. He thinks I will ruin every relationship I am in and give up on every endeavor I undertake. My hobbies and family support me. Story 30. My mind tells me to end it and that, despite all the hurt, it would be better to leave everyone and everything and start over. He just wants to start over. I started selling all my stuff to appease him. I'm sorry you're feeling this way. If you are thinking about harming yourself, please contact emergency services now. If you are in the United States, call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are elsewhere, contact your local emergency number or a local crisis hotline, and please reach out to someone you trust or a mental health professional. Story 31. This is me right now. I finally admitted this week that I am depressed. Now I have to do something about it. Story 32. I do not avoid him. I hate all this climb the ladder, work constantly, self-improvement nonsense. It is meant to make you feel bad, so you will buy things you do not need. It only makes people unhappy. They become perfectionists and are never good enough for themselves. I work hard, I live a quiet life, and I will spend my free time relaxing and doing activities I enjoy. I do not owe the world my best self. I am fine as I am. I do not need to buy motivational material, enroll in programs, pay someone to teach basic gym moves, or attend entrepreneurial seminars. Basically, leave me alone and let me spend my Sundays getting high and enjoying the time I have on this earth. Story 33. My partner does not want to continue living. I avoid him through positive thinking, recognizing mental distortions, therapy, and increasing my exercise. Story 34. Son of a bitch gets nothing. All he wants is to drink his life away. He has already taken 10 years from me. He does not get another second. Story 35. The voice in my head is a monster riddled with depression. It tells me I am worthless and will never amount to anything. I go to therapy once a week to learn how to outsmart that voice and prove it wrong. I do not think it will ever stop, but I am learning ways to cope. Story 36. Story 37. I've recently been dealing with a pretty tough breakup that I caused because I wasn't mentally well. I decided to start going to therapy once a week. I've been getting out of bed every morning to run for 30 minutes before work, and I go to the gym after work. I'm trying to be a better person for myself and to be happy with my life. I know things don't change overnight, but with steady progress, I'll reach my goal. Story 38. If I have the will, several strategies work. Eating properly, exercising, meditating, talking to friends and family, and keeping clear priorities about what I want to do. Unfortunately, every now and then something upsets everything and the will to outmaneuver the guy in my head is not there. That guy is even more persuasive when you feel like, to quote Kyle Kinane, stripped bare toothless cogs spinning freely and ineffectually in the working machine of society. Story 39. I joined the army. Now that man does not have much of a choice. Story 40. That woman parties a lot and is a free bird, but her children keep her grounded at home. Story 41. I am not sure. That guy sounds okay to me. I would hang out with him. Cartoons are awesome. Story 42. The voice in my head just wants to eat junk food, play video games, and masturbate all day. I only avoid it by going to work, but on my days off it is a party. Story 43. For me, that girl wants to be a stay-at-home mom who sells products through multi-level marketing and drinks a pumpkin spice latte with her jogging buddies. I work, cook amazing meals, and hunt because I know I wouldn't be truly happy if I gave up the empowerment of making my own money and enjoying the things I want. Story 44. I am that guy often. I used to be highly productive, but I stressed and overworked. I think Anthony Bourdain might still be alive if he had spent more time doing nothing instead of constantly chasing the next thing with strangers. Story 45. I do not know, man. He is not so bad. We are having a pretty good time together right now. Story 46. That guy is a little kid who wants to play outside, eat delicious treats, and hide far away from people. That kid still believes that if we get in trouble, and there is no telling if or why we will, someone will come and take away all the nice things in our life. My life is a haphazardly sketched idea to avoid staying that kid and becoming a well-rounded, adequately socialized adult. Someday I might even take a risk. Story 47. That other side of me is an out-of-control alcoholic, one step away from total oblivion. I fight with my other self a lot, and we've come to an agreement. Alcohol twice a week and no blackouts. Otherwise I lock things down, and that drunk does not get any alcohol at all. It seems to be working okay. Edited to add. It has taken me many years to tame the beast in my mind. Sometimes the beast still wins and I go on a bender, but for the past year or so I have mostly been able to moderate my drinking, and my life and my health have gotten so much better. Story 48. 3 weeks ago I read this post and had a moment of clarity. That day I killed that guy. I walked away from toxic relationships and quit pot. I wake up 3 hours earlier than I used to. I am eating much better and exercising, and I feel fucking fantastic. My confidence and enthusiasm for life are soaring, and I am being a better father, friend, and employee. I know this is a very late reply and no one will read this, but I just wanted to say thanks to the original poster. You made this post just when I needed to read it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.